Today I am going to be doing the scored review for Mega Man Legacy Collection, Mega Man 6. Now this game Mega Man 6 was initially developed by Capcom and published by Capcom, but this particular iteration, the Mega Man Legacy Collection version, was developed by Digital Eclipse and published by Capcom. Now this is an action platformer, so I would say in the kin of Mega Man, but this is Mega Man, so it's all running and jumping. And in this review, I'm going to be scoring it on 5 different categories. So in these categories, I cover story, graphics, gameplay and sound effect, or music and sound effects, gameplay and controls, gameplay mechanics and controls, and achievements. Now, in this one actually had more story than any of the previous ones. Shocker. Considering this is the last 8-bit one, I'm surprised it had this much more story. And honestly, the way they ended out on this one made it seem like that there wasn't going to be any more Mega Man games because of the way it ended. But of course, there was 7, 8, 9, 10, and 11, so we know the story must go on. But it does have to be continued at the end. Now, the story in this one was pretty good, so if you mesh it together with all the other ones, you do kind of have a cohesive story. And this one has a good final note to end on for the 6 that are in this package. Now the graphics. Oh man, I hate just waking up to do these. The graphics, it's like I said in 5. This was the point in which they really couldn't add a whole lot to the game to make it look better. I mean, Mega Man still looks the same. His shots still look the same. His animations still look the same. Like, the only real difference is, like, you have different robot masters, different in-game bosses. And then you have abilities like Rush Power and Rush Jet, which change how Mega Man look. So outside of that, there's not really a whole lot changed in the graphics. Now for the music and sound effects, as with all the Mega Man games, this is probably one of the key defining factors. This is another game that had a great soundtrack, and it still has all those classic Mega Man sounds, like jumping, the shooting. Now my only thing I have an issue with sound effect-wise is the Mega Buster doesn't have that old school in the previous 2 games sound when you fire it. It just sounds like a normal shot now, which I don't know why, that just irks the crap out of me. I like that big burst of energy sound that the previous one had. But that's more of a cosmetic or developer choice, so I mean, I'm sure they had a reason for it. The gameplay controls and mechanics, it plays just like previous Mega Mans. You run, you jump, you shoot. Every weapon has its use, aside from, honestly, Beat. I unlocked them, I didn't use them for anything. But I mean, you got the Mega Buster, which is now useful with the charge shot. The Yamato Spear, they really shouldn't have made that where it had a varying range when you shot it, because there's one boss you have to hit a very specific point, and it makes it kind of annoying when it's off by like a centimeter. But other than that, that's a good attack weapon. Storm's a decent attack weapon, although it's used against one weird boss. Blizzard attack, I like the radius it has, but it consumes an awful lot of energy. Fire Blast, you'll spend more time hitting them with the part that's supposed to land on the ground than you will actually using the ground column that comes up. Plant Barrier, Not as good as some of the other ones because you can't fire this one off like Woodman's Leaf Shield. Night Crusher has limited range, so I mean it's alright. Silver Tomahawk, this is going to be like your bread and butter weapon because I think you use it on like close to a fifth of the bosses in the game for their weakness. And it has an arc, so it allows you to like throw it a good distance on the screen. Centaur Flash. I'm honestly not sure what the point of that ability is other than to beat Windman. Beat, like I said, I didn't really use him, so I don't know if he's actually useful. Which brings me to I just realized this game does not have the M-Tank. That was something they shouldn't have taken out. They took out the M-Tank. But this game also has, I can't select it, but the thing in the bottom middle of the screen, which is called an energy converter. It's something you unlock by finding it in a stage, and when you pick it up, it goes in your inventory, and anytime you pick up weapon energy, if the weapon you're using is full or you're using Mega Buster, it automatically fills up the weapon with the lowest energy left. So in this case it'd be either Plant Barrier or Centaur Flash, which is really good. And I'm glad that this is something that was taken into future Mega Man, and it's something that's incorporated permanently into the Mega Man X series, so yeah, that's great. We also have the Rush Jet and the Rush Power abilities. I like the concept, I like the usage. There's absolutely no reason to have a cutscene every single time you put it on. Granted, you can skip them, but this one gives you like a reusable flying thing, and this one's for like breaking cracked walls. It has limited range, but it does more damage. And it also can hit straight through enemies with shields from the shield inside, like Metal, little cap enemies, or the flying shield robots. So all in all, they did add quite a bit to this game, which is surprising. Still mad that they took out the M-Tank. Now for the achievements. This game, like the other previous 5, only has 2 achievements tied to it. One for beating the game, which I have done, and one for beating all 6 Mega Man games on the same save file, which I just did with this one. So all in all, getting these 2 achievements isn't difficult, it's just however long it takes you to finish the game. So, with that, I generally rate a game 5 out of 10 as average instead of the industry standard of 7 or 8. And this particular game has actually a pretty good story for the restrictions that the game had. And it had samey graphics, so there's like nothing spectacular there. I mean, there's like a few things like the jet power and Rush Jet, Rush Power looks, which I mean doesn't add a whole lot to the game. The music and sound effects are stellar. The gameplay mechanics, which I forgot to mention in the gameplay controls and mechanics. This game, like 3, suffers from a lag input issue as well. In 3, it was the turning and firing at the same time would sometimes not work. And in this game, which it's far worse, is sometimes your jump doesn't register. So I had to re-record many of the stages multiple times because my jump malfunctioned and I just walked right off a cliff. So I'm sure that was something with porting it to this emulator, as same with 3. Now the gameplay controls and mechanics, there's not a big change here, but they did add some things, which is great, like the Rush Jet, Rush Power, and the energy converter. So they did make additions. And the achievements are easy. Well, the main one that specifically goes with this game is easy. Now, with all that considered, I would say this game, it's a solid 7. I didn't quite enjoy this one as much as 2 and 4, But I did really enjoy this one. So, 4 out of 10. I'll see you guys in the next video. And with all things gaming, game logic, am I right?